Midwest Bigfoot Researchers presents Florida Bigfoot Expedition, Day 1, Tate's Hell, Florida, 2/14/22. Cams I used on the first day: GoPro Hero Session 5 Cube, a Cyanix Aurora Pro Night Vision color camera, and 2 Exodus trail cameras. What's in the video? Tate's Hell is just south of Sumatra, Florida, and the Apalachicola National Forest, which has 632,000 plus acres. In purple below is Tate's Hell State Forest with 202,000 plus acres. Our first and second day site was at Doyle Creek in Tate's Hell State Forest, Florida, on 2/14 and 2/15/22.
The Legend of Tate's Hell.
Jebediah Tate was a superstitious farmer that lived northwest of Carabel in Sumatra, Florida. His only son was born just before the war, and he named him Sebe. Jebediah was a Civil War veteran, and his wife was half Cherokee Indian. He bought 160 acres for $5 as a homestead grant after the war. Sebe Tate, hope I got that name right, helped clear his father's land, chase cattle, and gather pine oil. His mother died from yellow fever sometime after the war. It was hard going, and Sebe's father made a pact with a local medicine man for good fortune. As long as they stayed out of the teeny cypress forest and gave him 1 pig a year, they would have good fortune. For 3 years they gave up a pig when the medicine man came around, and things were good. But in 1874, they decided to keep the pig and deny the old Indian. The medicine man warned them that they would not only see hard times, but they would go through hell. That year, Sebe's father died from malaria, the pine trees gave very little oil, and the sugar cane was stunted, and the scrub cow started to disappear. But the pigs, they ate good and multiplied so fast, Sebe had to build 2 new pig pens in the fall. Spring of 1875, Sebe married a mail-order bride from New York City. She was a fiery German immigrant, but there was a problem. Sebe only had pigs left, and she was of the Jewish faith. She ate corn, potatoes, and pancakes with molasses, but she wanted beef, so Sebe took off into the woods to find a cow, any cow to quiet his bride. Armed with a shotgun and accompanied by his hunting dogs, he journeyed into the swamp in search of a cow. His dogs took off chasing a panther, and he lost his gun in the mud. Tate was lost in the swamp for 7 days and nights. He went in the dwarf cypress stand to escape the relentless bugs and fell asleep against the trees that were protected by the Indians' magic. He awoke when bitten by a snake and ran blindly through the swamp, delirious from the bite and drinking the murky waters. Finally, he came to a clearing near Carabel, living only long enough to murmur the words, "My name is Seb Tate, and I just came through hell." And ever since, the forest and swamp have been called Tate's Hell. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Skunk-Ape reports and lore of Florida. Now, if you take a look on the BFO websites, you'll find plenty of reports in Florida of the Skunk-Ape or Bigfoot, Sasquatch with some pictures. You'll dig up folklore, campgrounds and museums, all sorts of different kinds of pictures of the Skunk-Ape, and even products featuring the Skunk-Ape and Bigfoot. We took a quick look around the camp in the early evening when we got there in 2/14/22 to check for any kind of tracks of any wildlife, boar, alligators, bear, anything, Sasquatch even, deer, anything. So we know it's generally in the, by going through the area, check on how wet things are. This road's usually not that wet and it's passable. We go through it later the next day though. Yeah, we had an encounter last time. We're here. I gave him a little whoop, let him know we're here. very, very thick brush in the swamp areas in Florida here. If they don't want to be seen, you're not going to see them. Their cloaking techniques, and well, they don't even need them in these thicker woods. Look at that, you can hardly see anything 5-10 feet into the woods right through here.
It's crazy, dude. It's like 85 in Miami right now.
As far as I'm going.
Yep.
The first cam was set up for security at the entrance of the camp. This footage here was on the second day for an example of what it's meant to do, pick up people entering the camp. Since we're getting there kind of late, I only set up 2 cams. The second cam was placed in the middle of the camp, and the date's incorrect, and the cam starts failing as soon as the SD card starts filling up, and it does some crazy stuff with the temperatures here. Let me show you. This one we're just getting back from a hike, and we got all our gear on. I'm still leaving the camera running on these little 30-second videos, mistakenly thinking that there's enough on that SD card to at least run through tonight and the next day. But something happens the next day, and really the thing runs out here shortly after, and well, here, let me show you. Now the temps are incorrect, and I'm going wild, reading up to 93 degrees. It's actually colder. We took our gear off, put our winter coats on because it was colder out. And I was telling Dango at this point that I was hearing something walking around in the woods and some soft grunts in there. I told him what to expect, and I've been telling him that the whole way down from Michigan. When we get to this is the last capture of the camera. The incorrect temperature reading of between 91 and 89. I'm in my tent by now. I was tired from the drive down there, and Dango stayed up for a while. And in this video he hears something, and then the trail camera fails. Shortly after that, probably about 10-15 minutes after this, he had his sighting. And I think that when that trail camera went off, it kind of opened a window of opportunity for that Sasquatch to come out and show himself to Dango. Dango Robinson's Bigfoot encounter in Tate's Hell, Florida on 2/14/22.
Well, we're packing up, moving to a different spot somewhere. The first night we were here, we had some interaction between what we thought was probably a Sasquatch over here, and I heard him earlier, and then I went to bed. I went to sleep. I don't know what time it was, but it was dark. And then Dango comes running out of his tent. He was out early. Were you in your tent, or are you sitting out here?
No, I was just sitting here by the fire, man. Yeah, I heard a little tiptoe walking. It was really like fluent, like a squirrel, but we haven't seen no wildlife since we've been here. So I'm sitting here by the fire. I started from like over here. I swear to God, I watched it for like an hour. It took like about the hour mark. I had like no fire going. And then all of a sudden it just started, like gasoline was poured on it. So I lost my vision in the woods because the fire was right in front of me. And then I heard this grunt. And it was almost like right out of the woods. And that's what freaked me out.
Yeah, then he comes running out. I'm in my tent over here. My tent slipped over right now and it's drying out. I was over here. His tent's over here by the water. He comes running over to my tent. He's going like, bring your gun out here, bring your gun out here. He was pretty much freaking out. He said it was standing right over there. I heard it grunt earlier too, but I knew it was a Sasquatch. I don't care if they come close, but it freaked Dango out really bad. I don't think he slept for a while. Well, so far that's the only activity we've got so far. That was on the first day. You want to add anything to it before I shut the camera off?
No, they're out here though, man.
Yeah, they definitely are. The first time we came down here, we were looking for snakes as usual, and it was dark, and we're a ways from the truck, and we heard rocks being thrown at the truck there, probably the size of bowling balls. We knew exactly what it was. They're definitely down here. Oh, there's a gator popping up over there.
I think the temperature is really prime too. It's like 55 degrees.
Yeah.
45 at night.
50.
What I heard from my tent during Dango's encounter, first off, let me say that Dango isn't afraid of snakes, alligators, bears, wolves. He's been around them all. He's been around Sasquatch before too. I don't know what freaked him out so bad, but when I was in my tent, he was yelling, wanted me to come out with my gun. He said something was standing by the fire. And I told him, you probably already scared it away by raising your voice and yelling. And he said, no, it's still here. Yeah, I think it was there for about 30 seconds. He got a good look at this thing. It came out and the fire lit up, and he got a real eyeful of it, and he kind of freaked out for about at least 30 seconds before he went back into his tent and he turned his radio on and his phone and turned it up loud and just pretended nothing was happening. And then I started yelling at him to turn that down too. But we didn't really get any good, really good trail cam video or anything of it, because I think when that trail cam went out, that was the window of opportunity where that Sasquatch had before was a trail cam going to take his picture. The trail cam went out and hey, he was going to show himself. I didn't expect that to happen because they usually just stick around in the brush and don't pop out like that. That was something I would have loved to see, but Dango got to see it this time. Note that some of these videos I really haven't gone over frame by frame. There still might be something in it. If I find anything later, I'm going to make a short of it. Probably not showing up on camera. I think there's steam coming off this water. We even checked some of our spots that we usually find snakes, and it was too cold that night. We didn't find anything. We ended up even going down 65 and looking on the pavement to see if we could find any reptiles out, and we didn't that night. I was over there. We could go try 65 on the pavement. Pavement warm, you know what I mean? Might find some there. Well, 65's not far. This is a short footage I just took when we get back to camp, and it's under full moon, and I used a little bit of black light. It still wasn't enough to penetrate whatever was in that brush there. I'm not sure if it was anything at all, but it kind of could be something, but you know, it's not definite enough. Now this is moonlight only on the Cyanix cam, and there may be actually something here watching me, but again, it's not super definite, but there is 2 eye sockets with, looks like eyes there, but it's not real good because it's only under moonlight. Stay tuned for what happens on day 2 and why we moved to a new spot. Hey, thanks for watching.